Smithsonians, welcome back. Smith Francois here, and this guest, I don't think I should call him guest no more. I have Dr. James White, co-host. All right, so you have him here again, and we're going to talk about the new goals for 2026. We'll get some insight about your mission, your vision, and let's get to it. Let's get more in depth of who Dr. James White is, and towards the end, you'll get empowered to be yourself, your authentic self, and to overcome challenges, all right? This is a more personal video for me, but hope you guys enjoy.
As a kid, we used to put stocking cap on our head.
Yeah, wave cap.
To keep the wave, keep the waves in, man. Yeah. It was the deal. Shoot. Get my cap and go to school. And that cut, we called it Quo Vadis. I think it was a movie that came out, Quo Vadis. I don't know why we did that stuff, so it was good.
Yeah. It's a great intro. So we're going to talk about your younghood, your childhood.
Childhood, yeah.
How were you?
I had to be then, I was probably, I would say, man, 10, 11,
okay,
12 years old in that particular age range. I mean, and they're good thoughts. I mean, we would go, one of my buddies was Charles. He lived down the street, and where Charles lived, man, that's where most of the little honeys lived. Man.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of them around there. One of them that I like was a girl named Molly, man.
Okay.
And so we would go down there and play and show off and during the day. And then somewhere around 12 or 1, we said, okay, man, we're going to go change. So he would go home and take his bath. I'd go take mine. And we decide what we're going to wear some khaki pants and a Madras belt, that Madras plaid belt. And we're going to wear white T-shirts. And we press our T-shirts so we could roll up the sleeves and they would be cool shoes. Man, we thought we were it.
You got the fresh coat on, so
yeah, it was like, shoot, let's go. Let's check out the girls.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a good life. I think back and I feel blessed, that that my parents were able to give me a good life, because I hear some things that challenges that they go through. I just don't remember any bad times. I'm sure there probably could have been.
Okay.
But I don't remember electric being turned off. I don't remember missing any meals or anything like that. And then my dad worked construction. I think prior to that, I think he worked in a tank factory because he didn't go into the military. And most of the guys who didn't go into the military were working in places where you made military parts. So I think he did that. And my mother became a beautician when I was like probably 11.
Okay.
And so she worked in a beauty shop. And then when we moved to Sharon, Pennsylvania, she opened her own. So she was a female Black entrepreneur in like probably 1957, something like that. My dad died the year before that. So she was, but I had my job in the shop. There were certain things I had to do. I had to clean the floors and, we had to sterilize all the brushes and combs and had to take out all the trash and had to mix the shampoo because it came in a big paste and you put it in and mix it. My thing was routine. My sister had a routine thing, but she became a beautician also. So that was some early life.
Okay. What type of hairstyle do you have growing up?
What type? What?
You had what's called the jerry curls.
I never did jerry curls, and I think jerry curls there were some guys my age that did jerry curls, but I didn't do it. I always kept my hair cut close. I played basketball a lot. So I didn't use anything where you have to put a certain kind of treatment on it or what have you. And so on the court, man, we had close haircuts and had a little shape across the front. We went in the military. There was always a guy in the military who cut hair. So he cut the hair, and we stayed clean. Those were the haircuts. But neat, always nice, always neat, always detailed lines across the front. And I can remember that probably I went to college after the military.
Okay.
So I was like 26 when I went to college. And so even during that time, but it was different. I had family and I was working. Shoot, man, I was carrying 13 credit hours, practicing basketball 4 hours a night, and working 40 hours a week. So it was a schedule. I didn't think about it then. No, you just do it.
Right.
It's just what you do. And if it's something that needs to be done, then you jump in and you go ahead and do it. And I look back on it now and say, like, wow, that was a heavy credit, heavy carry. But those are things that you have to make, decisions that you have to make yourself and determine the quality of life that you want, which gets to, like you were talking about, do I go into the trades or do I go and get that degree or that certification and work in an office environment or what have you? Well, one of the things that we're seeing today is that if you're good in the trades, you're probably making more money than most people who are working in an office environment, unless those people are at the executive level, because there's such a demand today for trades. Now, I imagine also that it would depend on your position, just starting off in the trades, because I did that too. A guy down the street from me, he had a contracting, a brick laying company. And so he would let me go out and work with him. And so what I did, I mixed the concrete, you poured water and mixed the concrete and all that. And then you took it and you put it in these big old buckets. And then you'd hand the buckets up to the guys who were up on the scaffold. And the tough thing, if we were up high, you'd have to go up on each scaffold, and then you finally give it to the guys because they didn't want to stop those guys because those are the ones that were laying them bricks. And them brothers would lay it out, man. Boom, boom, boom. And then we'd also have to take bricks up to them. So we carried those. And then what was tough is when they had those 18-inch cinder blocks. Man, that's a big thing. You can only move one of them bad boys at a time. But you had to get enough of them up there. And what we tried to do is to get there early and be able to set everything up so when the guys came, all they had to do was to work. Boom, 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 work, do all those things and make it happen. So that was some interesting stuff. So trades, and with a trade, you have it for life. And most people who did trades, they worked probably most of their life. Now, here's what I don't know. I don't know whether or not they were astute enough at that time to set aside X amount of dollars for the rainy day, for the insurance. And as African Americans during that time, it was a bit more difficult to get those kinds of things, And now, if you had the degree, and that's after I got my degree, then probably my first job with my degree was I worked for Opportunity Industrialization Center. And I was a operations manager. And tell you the truth, man, I didn't even know what the heck an operations manager was. I know the name sound good. I wore a suit and a tie. And then, we wanted to wear a suit and a tie. I mean, that was the thing. You wanted to wear that. You wanted to have that look. And the kind of shoes we had back then, you had to shine them. And for me being in the military, I would spit shine my shoes. And I don't know if you even know what that means at your age.
I've seen it in movies, but I never experienced it.
Okay, what it really is, you get your kiwi polish and you get your shoes and you get a wet cloth and some water and you dip wet cloth in the water and you put some of the paste on it and you go in circles or on your shoes. And you keep going in circles, and as it melts and dries, you get this shine, man. It looked like patent leather, but it came from the military because when we were in the military, our boots always had to be shine. They had to look like glass. If they weren't, man, they would really ream you. So I enjoyed that kind of work. I think I did poorly in it personally when I think back on it because I didn't know what I was doing. After I was there for a while, I got fired. I don't even know why I got fired. And then that's when I then went over, as a result of having the degree, I went over for Xerox. Xerox was hiring minorities. They were hiring minorities and women, black and white women, for the first time ever. They were trying to find out whether we could really sell copiers and really make money for the corporation. Of course, we blew it out of the water, man. The minority brothers did, the sisters did, and the white girls, all of them. I mean, once we got in there, we really did a great job. So that's what that other side offers you. If you have that piece of paper, you probably can utilize it in more than one location and more than one company. And I can't think of a time where they have ever asked me to do anything on the job that I got that was on the degree. But I think the degree is like, it says that, okay, you're able to tough it out. And if you're, and I think what degrees do, to me, degrees broadens your thought process, broadens your attention, and allows you to understand that there are other things in the world that have been going on for long periods of time. So I think it does that kind of piece. And it gives you discipline. I mean, you have to discipline yourself to do your job, do your play, and also do your homework, get that stuff done. So between the two, I would say, what do you do? How do you make a decision? If you love a trade, now if I wasn't in training right now, I would be doing something in architectural design, because while in the military, I got a certification as an architectural designer. And because I loved it. I loved being on the drawing board when I was in school. And I don't know if they still do that. I know some schools, but we had a trade. We would leave I was in the Catholic school, but we would go across the way to a public school where we had mechanical drawing. Some of the guys had electric and mechanical drawing, electric and metalwork. You could do metalwork. And then the girls, of course, they had them doing home ec. They did a lot of the home products. And I think they also did typing. Even some guys even took typing. So those are good skills. So I don't know what is best. I think it's all about you as an individual deciding what you want.
So now I'm glad that you here. So thanks for coming on again. The question I have is, when you're talking is Exxon, all you did was to sell, but were you able to use it, copy machines? That now I'm thinking of that nature, like, because back in the days it was mass production,
right?
So now it's like there's demand and need, but people are not willing to fill it. But back then there was people that are willing to just jump in.
What we did as sales reps, they had copiers. You know, we started with the 660 and then the 413, and they got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they had a large copier that by the time I left, the copier was making 2 copies a second. But what we had to do was go to they gave us a territory. They said, okay, this is your territory. This has this many buildings in it, has this kind of industries, and you go knocking on doors. And when someone came to that door, you'd tell them, you'd introduce yourself in terms of who you are. I'm affiliated with Xerox and what I'm here. I'd like to share some really exciting opportunities that Xerox has for organizations such as yours. You know, we had it down, man. We knew that pitch. And then what you did, you went in, and if you got their interest, then you would do demonstration. So any product that I sold, I had to also do a demonstration on that product, showing them how it works, where you put your ink and toner, how you clear a jam if you have the jam.
I don't buy jams.
So all that kind of stuff. And you did that. And so the bigger the machine, the more the jam. And some of our presentations or demos were up to maybe 20, 25 minutes. And you had to be good at it, man. You coordinated yourself. Now, where things changed was when I started selling word processing systems, because they did not exist. We sold the first word processing systems. I think it was Lisa was the system. And it would do all, just like now you hit the button and everything appears. Well, back then it was slow. You hit the button, it may be 15 seconds before anything appeared on that screen. So you hit the button, and while you're waiting for the stuff to appear, you say, and we're doing such and such, blah, 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 because in your mind, your time is blah, 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 blah. And then, bam, you'd hit it, and that bad boy would appear on the screen, So it was interesting. It was good stuff. I think I learned a lot. Sales teaches you a lot about yourself, and you're constantly encountering other people. And, and other people that I know had different jobs in different organizations. They worked in the office, of course, and they did more paperwork and they did HR work and those kind of things. So for a younger person starting out, if they could educate themselves about what's out there, which is what I think school counselors used to do, and I don't know if schools really do that now, how they prepare them or to provide them with information about all the wide array of opportunities that are there. And then based upon your desire, now some of it also academically. And what we find sometimes because a person didn't perform the the way they should have academically, their grades was such that if you wanted to go and pursue college or something else in the administrative area, there were some coaches would say, well, you can't do that, or they don't have very many black people in that. Maybe you ought to go and work over here. Maybe you ought to go work, in the labor area, things along those lines. So it's just interesting. Another job that I had, I was a draftsman for the city of Pittsburgh, and for them we designed drains and where the sewer drains go and all the. So, it just helps if you have a wide array of skills and don't be afraid to try different things, but get some level. I don't know if does that hitting kind of what you're looking for in terms of what
Yes.
questions do you have on that?
Yeah, because I don't know, now till January,
Mhm.
people are making their New Year's resolution, things of that
Right.
nature. So it's like they're afraid. Because I remember when I came to Columbus, it was December. So I just came not knowing anything, but
Right.
I grown so much since.
Right.
So I just want to help people understand like
Okay.
what's the difference between back then and now. So it's like now there's
Mhm.
uh, opportunities in AIs, but there's also opportunities back in labor.
Right.
But there's a fight for which one's going to be in more demand or
Right.
which one to suit
And that's
society.
I think that's about doing your homework. I mean, for young people, at some point in time, get with someone older or go with an organization that's helping young people to develop themselves. And there are a number of organizations in the city that they can go to and sit down and they can give you information about the different kinds of industries that are out there, the different kind of job opportunities, administrative kind of jobs that are there, the amount of education that you need, the salary that you need. And I think people need to be realistic about that. If you are going to be out there, especially if you're going to be on your own, I used to teach a session to young people. And what we did, we took them through a whole process of budgeting. What is your house rent's going to cost and your food and your transportation and your expenses. And we took them through that whole thing. It was about a day and a half where we worked. And I think it still might, those types of things. But I do know that those things are available. And usually, especially today, going online and asking about it. And here's the thing that I think AI provides an opportunity for young people to take a quantum leap. Anything that you want, basic, fundamental, anything that you want to learn, AI has it right now. If you say, AI, tell me about this industry, tell me about this kind of program, tell me, those things are there for them to get an basic understanding of what it is. Now, from there, you then make your move to, again, some type of organization that's going to develop you. Churches are doing it for young people. Some companies are offering training like that. There are some companies that offer shadowing. If you want to go to an organization that you really like and you put together a document, send it to the company, say, I'm really interested in what you're doing. Can I shadow some of your employees to see what it offers? So some companies will do that. They'll set those things up because they want good candidates. They want good people. They want skilled people. And if you show as a young person that level of interest,
So what does that mean? Good candidate? Because
a good candidate,
yeah, because a lot of people. I'm basically trying to say education aspect because
right,
like they're predicting people based off their third grade reading level.
right.
So it's like, what's a good candidate?
A good candidate would be someone who, let's say, identifies that they want to go into videotaping,
Okay.
just like you, the kind of stuff that you're doing. So for me to be a good candidate in that arena, I would have to have some knowledge interests. I would take on my own to what kind of cameras do I need? What kind of lights do I need? What does the lighting mean? What are the opportunities? What's going on? What industries are really doing this kind of work? So that means a candidate is an individual who's interested in employment at a certain place or in a certain field. And then what we do is, how do we prepare ourselves so when we go there, or when you call about the opportunities and the people say, well, hey, well, yeah, well, what do you know about it? Well, I don't know anything about it, but I saw my cousin do it. Nah. That ain't going. You say, hey, I've had an opportunity to do some research on my own. I've learned these kinds of things. As a matter of fact, and other thing that you can do, you pull up the company. I've looked at your company. I looked at your company profile. I looked at the kind of things that you do in your organization. And I feel that I could be a tremendous asset because I am a person who's on time, I'm dedicated, and I'm young, but I want to grow and I want to learn. And I have this level of experience. I haven't gone to college yet, or I did take a course, I took an online course, or whatever you've done, to show them that, hey, this is a person that we need in this organization because we're growing and we're developing and we want good people and we're going to treat our people right. So that would be the whole thing about a candidate. Now, that also says if I want to work for the city of Columbus, if I want to work for the governor's office, if I want to work for the fairgrounds, if I want to work, I think people don't realize if you're working with the transport the trash area arena that they have there, you work with the water department. Those people have good jobs. They make good money. They have excellent benefits. So you don't have to commit many hours if you don't want to. Now, regardless of what you're going, any of those city jobs that might be available, you also need to do your homework there. You need to pull up on that city. What's the job? What do they do? How do they work in the water? How do they work in the trash? How do they pick it up? What kind of vehicles are they using? Because technology is being utilized everywhere today.
Yeah.
And so what you want to do, you want to bring something to the party. You want them to say that we need this person, male or female. Don't let it stop you if you're a woman and it was traditionally a man's job, or if a man is traditionally a woman's job, if you want to be a nurse or whatever. If that's what you like, get into something that you like. It makes a tremendous amount of difference. Work becomes opportunity. Opportunity to learn more, opportunity to do more, opportunities to expand your knowledge base and for you to rise within that organization. And sometimes people say, I don't want to go up there. I like right here. I'm happy right where I am. Just let me stay where I am. And I'm going to learn. I'm going to master this piece. So whatever that is, if it's picking up pencils, I'm going to be the baddest pencil picker upper that they've ever had. And that to me is what would make sense if you're a candidate. I want to be a good candidate for it, whatever job you're interested in.
All right. Awesome. So kind of off topic, but same like union now, it's like it's under a fight now because some people don't want to. Some companies don't want to get a benefits something like that. So
Right.
This is at will state. So I mean, you get fired for any reason.
Right.
Playing with wages, like I want to help people. Like you said last time on the pod, keep your job, but also have something else going
Yes,
for
right.
you. So like, what recommendation or what more furthermore can get given to that?
So let's touch the union piece first. Today, it really, in my opinion, appears that companies want more money, more money, more money. And what they don't do, they don't share the wealth. They don't share the growth. I have always believed, I think back in my day, the CEO made something like 78 times that of the mean employee. Today, it's like they make 400 times that of the mean employee. My take, if the company's doing well and the company makes a lot of money that year, I mean, they really blow it out, and if they give a bonus to the CEO, everyone in that organization should get a bonus. The janitor should get a bonus. The receptionist should get a bonus. The person who's at the door should get a bonus. The secretaries, the administrators, everyone should get a bonus, a percentage of their salary. This person's at the top, so they're taking a higher risk. They get a bigger piece to pull from. But you're doing your job because without you being at the door, without them having a clean a restroom facility, if they don't have a clean kitchen, if they don't have the paper, if I'm the copier guy, if the copier is not running, then that person up there cannot be successful. So they need everyone in the organization. So therefore, and this is a Jim Whiteism, I think that's the way it should go. Now, as a result of a lot of companies not really compensating the people when those pay raises are coming in, that's what the unions are for. And the unions are there to say, hey, if you're getting this kind of money, the employees who are working every day should get money. Now, you have good unions, and you probably have some unions that are not as good as they could be. But if you have a good union and it's a fair union where they work, and I've worked in organizations, I've done training with schools and what have you, and how that balance outs where you had the union on this side and the union on the other side, and how do we talk? One of the things that one of the people who was in the union said when I was working with one particular job, she said, if you want to negotiate a deal with me, something that's in the benefit of you, the new company, meet with me before we get on TV. She said, because when we go public, I am a saber-toothed tiger. I'm going for the gusto because my constituents need to know that I'm fighting for them. So if you meet before, so what I've always said, that the relationship between the leadership and the union, that should be going on all the time. They should be talking to each other. They should meet on a regular basis, should establish rapport on a regular basis so that they know what's happening. And then when they get down to that tight stuff, at least they respect each other. At least there's some level of civility between the conversations that they're having. And, you still struggle for the give and take, but it makes for a better relationship than waiting until that day and you just kind of fight it out, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. So that's my take. And if you are in an organization that has a union, find out what that union really does. Look at the history of the union. Some you have to sign up if you're in a union. Others you don't because you get the same benefits everyone else does. I can't think for me at Xerox and the companies that I work for, I don't ever remember. I think maybe the guys and ladies who did the maintenance on the equipment and installation, they may have. But as sales reps, we didn't. My thing was, it was 40% salary, 60% commission. So if I wanted to get 100% of what my pay was, I had to generate enough to at least hit that 60%. Now, once I went over that 60, which then meant I'm going over 100, 110, 115, 120, 200, that's where you get big bonuses. When I worked then, you were able to make an additional, and this was like 30 some odd years ago, you were able to make an additional $20,000 a year on bonuses. And that was like $5,000 a quarter. So those are the things that were happening then. And they're still doing that.
I was going to say, get some names, like what's some good sales jobs right now?
Now that's a good question. What would be, but my thing is this, nothing happens until something is sold. So everything that's out here are things that are being sold. But where's the great demand? I think in manufacturing products that are there, right now what's really big is anything in home building. Those supplies are in great demand, and they're hard to come by, they're hard to get. So I would imagine if you could do that, I'd look at people at Lowe's and Home Depot, the ones who are behind the counter who will talk to use. They're the ones who make the most money in those organizations because it's based upon commission and how they talk to people and if they can sell more of the products. So those are things that I think are important. And so I couldn't give you I couldn't name like, this is the sales company that you should be with.
Because the way you explain it, I'm thinking of TikTok. Because
Okay.
TikTok, they have so many products they want people to sell, like they give you a percentage. I'm like,
Okay.
oh,
Now and that's the thing I'm missing. I'm old. I don't know exactly
I'm
what.
gonna put you on. You know,
I know you're gonna help me out, but what does TikTok do? Because I do think that from what I understand from you and my grandsons and some other people that I've spoken to, if I do something on TikTok and people like it, and I do more of it, and I get more people tuning into it, then I start to get money.
yep.
You know, and I think I missed the boat because with
No, they purpose. Like,
with my TED Talk, I've had over 2 million hits with my TED Talk, but I wasn't controlling that. So I don't know who then, and maybe even now, I should probably maybe go and grab my own, TED Talk and put it out there in a way that I could get compensated for it. But you have to teach me those kinds of
we're
things.
gonna put you on. Like we can start with gems, like just
Yeah, oh,
go
that's
on
right. That's right. Gems with
because
yeah.
I'm just like literally thinking about like TikTok is the new sales thing.
It really is.
Because like it's talking about like products like things, paper towels, like you
Right.
get commission off that. I'm like, wow,
Wow.
that's what people are doing now. It's like
See, that
you
is
just go
interesting.
live, not do
Yeah.
anything, you just get people to
Interact
buy
and
it.
to buy it and to purchase it. Yeah, well, I guess you're right because it's changed. It has changed. But those other items are still out there. But if you have the gift,
Yep.
then go ahead and do it. I know you also talked about how did we get ready for 2026?
For change. That's
Yeah.
typically what you're talking about.
I think one of the most important things there is, again, everyone should have their own mission statement. Everyone should have their own vision statement. And your vision statement is, if I could do all the things that I want to do next year, what would success look like? And that's your vision of where you want to be. Then the mission says, what do I have to do? Go ahead.
I need to write that down.
I'll
replay it.
Yeah, replay it, right. So then the mission says, what do I have to do to make my vision a reality? Then from there, I put together some goals. And from there, I put together some steps as to what am I going to do to achieve those goals? How much time, how much money, how much work, how much whatever to go ahead and to make that happen. Then what I ask people to do, once you get that together and you're looking at it, your next question is, what are my critical success factors? What's a critical success factor? That is, if I want to achieve that vision and make it a reality, what are those things that I must do in order to make that happen? It may be I must get up early to be out. I must dress a certain way. I must make 15 telephone calls a day. Or I must get on TikTok. And when I get on TikTok on the first, I don't know whether it's 30 seconds, 20 seconds, an hour, whatever, this is the thing that I'm going to talk about for that one time period. And I'm going to practice it. So when I get on it, people are going to say, wow, that was great. And they want to, so then the next thing would be, now that I got them hooked on 15 minutes, I'm going to 30 minutes on this next one. And so you perfect that. Then what would my image be? So those are critical success. Those are things that you must do in order for you to achieve the goals that you have established for yourself. And it's your dreams. And then the other thing with that is it realistic? Are you trying to do too much at this particular time? Do you have any mentors who could help you? Do you have a coach that can help you? Do you need a coach? Do you have any sponsors? And a sponsor is different than a mentor, someone who will talk to you and say, hey, how you doing? What do you need? A sponsor is someone who say, hey, tell you what, why don't you go down to XYZ company, ask for Philip or Alice, and tell them that I sent you. and tell them you're coming because of blah, 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 blah. That sponsor has put their name in the game. So they're not just saying you go do it. No, they're saying I am providing you with an opportunity to be represented by me. And by you using my name, that's going to get you in the door. Now, once you get in the door, you still have to deliver. And what they don't want you to do is go down and get in the door and you mess up. And next time they send someone, they say, nah, last person Jim sent down here was a dud, man. We don't want to deal with that person. So, I just look at how do I perfect what I do? What I see a lot now, dress. I was at my great-grandson's school, and the guy came out, and he was either the principal or assistant principal. That guy had clothes that had a wrinkle in everything. The collar was wrinkled. One part was tucked in, the other part was out. The pants that he had on was wrinkled. I mean, and I could tell he was a professional guy, the way he talked and the way he told people in the office to do. But I said, how could you possibly get up in the morning and dress like that going to school where you're supposed to be influencing people? When I work with teachers, one of the things that I share with teachers, I say, when you get up in the morning, you should have a mirror that you look in. And when you look in that mirror, you should ask yourself, do I look like success? Because you're going to have anywhere from 30 to 300 kids that are going to see you today. And when they see you, what do they think? I think back, man, and I don't know what it was like for you coming up. All of the men wore suits. The women were dressed. Them women were fine. Some of the women were young. Them some cutie pie women, teachers. And they all looked, and when you went to school, you wanted to look good. So we made sure we looked good, that our shoes are polished or brushed off, or the pants. I learned how to iron at a very, very early age. I learned how to do that that starch. But I don't know, today it seems that that's not an issue, that you can wear anything. And I had a grandson who worked at one of the major hospitals, and he dressed really nice. And what they did, they said, man, after been there for, man, you got to tone that down, man.
Yes, I was gonna say,
That's what they did.
yeah, it's not. It's like just how I'm just is over. It's overkill for some things. Like, wow, I was like,
Wow.
That's why I don't wear suits no more. I don't like wearing suits, but it's like,
Wow. That's amazing. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what that says. So is that and maybe if you're young, you guys' age, and that's where it's always been, then I guess it's okay.
no,
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't. Know. It's like I had so many suits. It's like funny.
Wow. I see. I'd have to put my suit on and wear a jacket, just wear something comfortable, like a shirt like this, or a band, what's called a band collar.
Yeah,
Something along those lines. I couldn't go any other way. But that's because I'm brainwashed, man. And I know one of the things that we used to teach dress for success.
that's done. I don't know what that means.
Wow.
Or young people don't know what that means, but yeah.
That's amazing. Now, the question that I would have for you and other young people out there, if you dress like that, my take is this: whoever your boss is, if you're dressed a certain way, they see a position that fits that attire. And I was always told that I should dress like my boss's boss.
Ooh, don't do that now.
So that when they look at me, they can think of me being in that kind of a position.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's the trouble I really do have. Like, I know more. I want to help people, but it's like when I try to do that, it's like, and then out there, that's what our beginning, the first part, we're talking about, like feeling how people feel, like feeling for them. And it's like going to therapy and stuff like that. It's like, why am I putting myself down? So it's like they're not there. It's like I came to Columbus. I didn't come to be small. So it's like when you fit it.
If you, let's say, for an example, take you, a friend, if you change your attire and bump it up a level, is there a negative consequence? Do you just get a hit from the people, from your peers, or would your manager see you in a different light?
Mainly your peers. Yeah.
Okay. But but the manager says, "Dang, I see him over there. He's always looking good. What's Francisco, man? What does he do? Blah blah. I just don't know if so. It would be because for me at this point in time, like now when I do trainings, we used to wear shirt, ties, the whole bit. Now when I do a training, I have to take a suit jacket with me, and I will wear it. Now it could be a situation during the class where I might take my suit jacket off and lay it down, sports jacket. Take it off and lay it down for one reason. But 95% of the time I have it on as a part of the uniform of the day.
Okay. I don't know. It may be personal too. Cause like me, like every time they see me wear a suit, they're like, "Are you a pastor?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a pastor."
I know. I get that. I get all that. Everyone go, "Are you a pastor?" I said, "No, not a pastor." Yeah. And let them think that.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. There's also the book 48th Law of Power.
The 48th Law of Power.
Yes, telling you like not to outshine your master. That's one of that's one of the laws.
Yeah. And I can see that. I can see which then says if my manager looks a certain way, then I should not look better than my manager.
Yeah.
But I should look comparable.
Yeah.
So I would say comparable, and not below.
Yeah.
Because to me, the manager should be setting the tone.
Okay.
And the organization should establish a dress code. And once they establish the dress code, when you come in, it's written someplace that our dress code is. Because, guys and ladies, sometimes some of the girls, stuff that I see women wear, and what these kids wear to school is amazing. It's really distracting across the board for kids and for boys in school and girls.
Yep, like that's the thing that's been talked, but there's no consequence. So it's like the teachers, like they're famous for that, being like teacher like.
And the teachers look worse than the kids, or dress like the kids.
Oh.
And you're right. If there's no consequence to inappropriate behavior, what you're doing is saying it's okay to exhibit that behavior. And so then if there's no reward for appropriate behavior, what you start to see is my thing is always every system is designed to get exactly what it's getting. So if I go into an organization and I see it's a chaotic environment, the thing that hits me somewhere in this organization, it says okay to be chaotic. It's okay to behave that way. Because if it wasn't okay, as soon as that behavior surfaced, someone would have shut it down.
Yep.
But if they don't shut it down, so people say, well, what we find is that people will follow the cultural norms that have already been established before them. And that's what they look at and they see and they say, okay, let me do this, that, and the other. And so what that says too, then is as an individual, you have to establish who you are. And because Mary Jo and Shaniqua, Daquan, and blah, blah, do this, it doesn't mean that I have to do what they do.
Right.
Even though they may say, hey, man, why you... What I do. This is how I dress. This is how it works for me.
That's why, like, even, it's funny. It's not funny, but it's like I'm analyzing people. I didn't analyze myself, but analyzing people like a management. They went to talk to an employee like, hey, I see the tone's, medium. Like, what's going on? Like, when are you going to get this work done? The, person talk. And they comes back and try to solve it. Yeah, so how was you like? I know what they want to do, but it's like, I'm just analyzing people every second now.
Mm-hmm.
Like people watching like you do, like you say you do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching in the workplace, it's like, wow.
Is what they're doing healthy?
No.
Not.
They want to be aggressive or be demanding, but they soften the tones. Like, it's just...
They don't know how then to what they should
a lot
use.
of... Yes, there's lack of training. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I'm seeing it now. Yeah. It's like, as I'm working on myself, it's like, man.
One of the things that I think is important in an organization in terms of establishing behavior, one of the courses that I do on empowerment, identify 5 levels of behavior. Victim.
Oh.
Ain't never my fault. I always live in the state of blame. Somebody help me. Somebody fix me. If you give them an assignment and you're gone for 20 minutes, when you come back, ain't nothing done. I was waiting for you to come back. I didn't know what to do next. And they've been there 50 years and they still don't know what to do. They will drain the life out of an organization. The next level are people who are passive. They have the knowledge, they have the skill, but they're afraid. It's like, I'm only going to do what my boss tells me to do. If my boss says stop at the gray line and I have enough work to go over to the green, I ain't moving till my boss. Now, the reason why that tends to happen is because they saw someone who took a step out there and they got hit and said, look, I don't have to get hit to know the rules of the game, So they say, I'm going to lay back here in the cut with all my knowledge and all my skills, and I'm not going to do a thing. But what that does, if I play the game of the buffoon too long, I become the game that I play. And I lose my own self-confidence and self-respect and stop looking for things and move forward. Then that third level is the person who I call active. And the active person realizes if it is to be, it's up to me. Say someone should do this or something, then I should be doing it. I should be making those things happen because I know it's in the organization. I know what it is. I'm doing things. And they're reliable people. If you give them an assignment, you're gone, you come back, it's done. Then we have highly active who not only do the assignment, but they know a step above what needs to be done, or they may start to initiate things and make things happen. And then finally, you have the person that we call accomplished. And they've done all those basic things, all those fundamental things. And they move in a way that people feel that they must be the manager, they must be the owner, but they've done all the basics. And the big thing, they have a goal for themselves, because if they get to that level and they stay at that level and nothing good happens, one day you look up and guess what? They're gone.
Oh.
Because they know I can go somewhere else and utilize my skill set and people are looking for me. If a company would just show those levels and identify where the people, it makes a tremendous amount of difference. Also, it gives people a goal.
Yeah.
If you don't have a goal to go after and you keep paying, if I'm a victim and I do almost nothing, but you keep paying me, shoot.
This make my job.
That's why it made it easy. Why should I do anything? Everybody else is doing. Man, you need to call. Man, I ain't got time for that kind of stuff. Then we're rewarding that kind of behavior. So every system is designed to get exactly what it's getting based upon those things. They allowed it to happen.
Oh. Huh.
So what's the next question?
That's just interesting. Because when you said that, I'm thinking like, I do that in every aspect, like entrepreneurship. I fall under bracket, workplace, I fall under bracket, in society, I fall. So I'm in transition from 2 to 3.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, it's like, that's what I'm anticipating for 2020. The next.
Well, that's good, because you're very knowledgeable. You know what's happening. You know what's going on. You know how things should work. So you said, I know enough now. Boom, to get in there and make things happen.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep.
And it's good that you see it. And it's good that and I would say this, for a person like you who sees it, I would say you're probably already a 3.
Right.
Because of the fact that you looked at it, you studied it, you see it, and say, okay, I've done this, I'm ready to make that step. And usually if you're ready to make that step, it's because you have been doing that. You've been playing in that arena. And I would say that probably people at work would identify you as that 3 or higher. So because of that.
Yeah, I've tried to hide it. It was like, it's like, they always trying to get on business. So I try to work in, personal side different, like, but it's like, it's obvious now they see my platforms. I was like, they have idea what's coming.
What's coming next?
Yeah. So I was going to say, if you could break down the difference between hustle, a job, and asset for modern time.
Okay, if I could break down hustle.
Yep, job and asset.
Hustle, job. A hustle.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, let me share a hustle with you. I work for the city of Pittsburgh, I told you.
Yeah.
I was a draftsman.
Okay.
So I worked downtown. Good job, really good job. And on this, a hustle is a side job. My hustle was I worked at Gimbel's department store in the evening as a manager. So my primary thing was the city. Hit that in the morning, go down, do my thing, da. At 5:00 on most nights, I can't remember if it was every night, I would shoot on up to Gimbel's. And that was my hustle. That's my extra piece. Now, somebody may have a hustle of they work in an office, but they also know how to be electrician. So they may go on in evenings and do some jobs like that. Or some people may say, I can paint. I can paint any kind of room, any color, I can knock out a room in no time. And the amount of money they're charging now, $300 for a room, shoot, I would start painting again. $300 for one room? Put me in, brother. You know what I'm saying? I can knock out 3 or 4 rooms in one night.
Yeah.
You know? But some people could call that a hustle, or a hustle may be for some on Saturdays, I also maybe cut grass. Or I'm a landscape person. I like landscaping, so I'll do the plants and what have you. But it's that extra piece. It's that other job. It's that reinforcement that is an add-on to what you're currently doing. So you had that. What was the other one?
Job, hustle, and asset.
Asset.
Yeah.
I think an asset would be what I generate. My hustle becomes an asset to me because it provides me with additional cash. It provides me with additional exposure. It provides me with additional engagement with other people. And so it becomes an asset to me because it allows me to become even better than what I already am. It helps me. I guess the term that I would use, that I use a lot, is consciousness. I believe everyone has a consciousness umbrella. Some people's consciousness umbrella is that small. And other people's consciousness umbrella is this large. So if I have my umbrella and I meet a person and talking to them or sharing information, I learn how to do something different in my job, then that becomes an asset for me. There's another skill or another idea that I can utilize, or another way to talk to someone, because I've watched this person and I see that they solve conflicts real easy. They're very good at so that becomes an asset. So it helps me to increase my level of consciousness in whatever area I might be in. No matter, so it could happen, an asset could be there for anyone. There could be an asset just in my home, learning how to do some things that I haven't been able to do before in my own house. So it's an asset. An asset is that extra piece, just that check off a little bit more.
Okay. All right. So final question. There's a student that's going from elementary to high school and they're battling trade or college. What advice would you give them?
A student moving in from high school from junior high to high school, I would say, again, I would hope that they or their parents gave them an opportunity to have some discussion or some exploration around the difference in terms of having a trade or taking that college route. If I'm going to do a trade, then the question would be, what kind of trade do you want to do and why do you want to do that? I know you paint really well. I know you sculpture really well, blah, 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 blah. I know you're always fixing things and putting things together. So that may be why I would want to go into the trade. Or for the one who was pursuing something in college, there may be some academic pieces that they really enjoy that they've studied, and not necessarily medicine. It could be typing, it could be writing, it could be problem solving, it could be training. They're always training other kids. I train all the kids at church. Whenever it's come time for someone to read and do things, I'm the one who does that. So that may lead me more in that area. And then academically, and I hate to say academics because sometimes young people don't develop their academics until even after they get out of school, after they graduate. But it's an indicator. It's an indicator that you could move either one way or another. And I would hope that a child to me, by the time they get out of junior high school, there should have been a lot of conversations around what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, blah, 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 blah. I also believe, I think it's one of the governors who said that every child should have 60 books in their home by the time I think they said by the time they're getting ready to get out of elementary school, 60 books. And so with something like that, what that says, and it doesn't mean big books. It could be like 5-page books, 10-page books, whatever it is. But what it says, there's a variety that you purchase. For my great grandkids, just the other day, my daughter and I sat there and looked at several books. And we found a couple of them. One that even has two of my great grandsons' first name, and they're both named Jackson, but one spells his Jackson. The other one spells his name Jaxon. The parents didn't know that they were naming the kids Jackson, nor did they know about the spelling. It just happened. So one of these books is called Jackson. And the little boy even looks like my great grandson. So we got that book. And then other things said, what else are they interested in? And what I tried to do with the kids at an early age, I try to put as many books around engineering, basic stuff as I possibly can. Because you can be an engineer in everything, engineering water, building buildings, building bridges, building roads, building what have you. Just the whole notion of what engineering is. As a kid, I had no idea what engineering was. I thought engineering was the guy who drove the train. That was it. So there was nothing like that. So it shouldn't be that they have to make that decision that when they go in, they should already have been leaning in a direction.
Okay.
Now, our problem is that in many cases, parents aren't aware. Parents don't do it. They don't check it. So it makes it difficult. So then there should be a school counselor. One of the first things that they should do is go to the school counselor and demand don't let that school counselor push you one way or the other. Let that school counselor provide you a variety of opportunities. Because sometimes the school counselor will look at you and say, I think you should do that. How do you know you don't know a darn thing about me, And the school counselor will probably say, well, we're going to look at your grades and see what your grades are. That might be good, may not. But going into high school, I had 3 years to bring those grades up, 9th, 10th, 3 or 4 years to bring those grades up if need be. But there are children who have been getting 4.0s. I've seen kids go to school and they go to college with a 4.5. And my thing was, how in the heck do you get a 4.5? I'm like, 4.0 was the highest. But that's because they've done extra things. So that's the competition that's out there. Because those parents started. Someone said you can look at a baby and where the baby is born, how rich, I should say, maybe not rich, how fulfilling their life is going to be from the time that child is born into a family. Now, that doesn't have to be, because other things can happen. But the point that I'm making is that if people start with their babies by buying, I don't buy a toy for a baby unless I can see how it's going to benefit that child. And as they get older, continue to buy it. My whole thing is education, development.
Okay.
So,
This is a final random question.
okay.
You've been experienced to travel,
Yes.
so did that play a major role in who you are? Like,
Ooh. Yeah, I think that, again, when you talk about that, when I talk about my consciousness umbrella, travel has put so many great experiences with me. One, just getting on the plane or the ship or whatever you're going to be on. The other is all the different people that you meet. What is my ability, regardless to who the person is, to be able to hold a conversation with that individual, regardless to what their race may be, regardless to what their physical makeup may be, because you may be sitting beside someone at a dinner or at a what have you. So it broadens your scope there. Then, just if you're on a cruise, this big ship. And I've been on cruises that hold maybe 600 people, and I've been on cruises that hold 6,000 people. 6,000 people on one ship, and you're bumping into them and you're talking, and you talk about, if you want to observe, you get you a good seat in the cafeteria, man. And you sit back and you see everything under the sun. But at the same time, it's feeding you. And you don't see it to criticize. You see it to understand. Then you step off the ship and you find that no matter where you go, guess what? People are people. Now, different cultures, food is a little bit different. Some of the customs are different. Some of the architecture is different in terms of what you might see in the areas, the way they carry themselves. But people are all trying to do the same thing. I need food. I need Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I start at the very, very, very bottom of Maslow, and I need those physiological, the physical. I need a house. I need some water. I need a place to clean myself up, wash myself up. And then from there, I want to have a good, comfortable relationship. So I need some people that I can interact with, for safety before that, people I can interact with. Then after I interact with people, then I start exploring why you're doing this, and why do you dress that way, and why do you dress that way, and why do you do that? And you just start to grow. The example that I use a lot in talking about that, when you look at the people who get in those covered wagons and went out west, which I say, you had to be some tough people. But they found a place. There was some water over here, some woods over there, was a deer over there. So they broke the wagon down. They made a house. So while she was taking care of the house, the wooden house and the mud, he was going out and he was hunting and bringing back. But one day, they went into town. And when they went into town, the wife looked at what she was wearing, made out of that burlap, and they saw all these other colors and textures and what have you. The guy looked at the kind of guns that the other people were wearing, the kind of bridle the horse had on. The little boy looked at the kind of hat he had on, little clothes he had on, because what happens? It increased their consciousness. And when they went back to their little place, they were different, and they had different aspirations. And all of a sudden, they wanted glass as windows as opposed to whatever they had for windows. So I think that's what culture has done for me. When I can remember Egypt, going to Egypt, and the brothers in Egypt, when we got off the ship, they said, hey, man, we like Obama, man. We like Obama. Come with us. Come with us. And so instead of us taking the tour with the cruise ship, we took a tour with these guys, man. And they took us all over the place. We were in Egypt. Beside us was a donkey, a horse and a donkey. And then beside him was a great big old bus. And then in front was a big Mercedes, or one of those other, not the higher level cars. Everything within reaching. And they had one light, street light. And you saw people just being people.
Oh,
You saw people selling things on the side. You get food, you get meat, you get ice balls, you get drinks and what have you. So what it has done for me, it has just allowed me to understand that we're all trying to accomplish the same kinds of things, doing it in different kind of ways, based upon the conditions and the environment of that particular city that you are living in. The one impression, if I go back to Egypt, the one thing I wish if I could go back and ever do anything different, there was a little boy who was selling something. I can't remember what it was, but that little boy looked so totally lost. It's like he was just sitting there, and someone put him there and probably would come back and get him every night and then send him back. And I wish I could have done more than just buy that item. I would, my heart to this day, and that was years and years ago, my heart to this day wishes I could reach out and find out how that little boy is. But you see that kind of stuff. You see wealth, and then you see, I mean, poverty. It makes you feel valued. When I was in Jamaica, some of the places that I went to, there were these little shanties that people lived in. I mean, that's where they lived every single day. And then right down the street from them, you saw these really beautiful resorts and you saw these beautiful homes that were thousands of thousands, all in the same space, man. And they would leave that shanty and they would come over and work. So it travel is nothing better. And if you can't travel overseas, travel United States. The same thing happens. Because as you go from one state to the other state, I lived in Idaho for a long time. The things in Idaho was very different than they are here. So travel, absolutely wonderful. And keep in mind, it just allows your consciousness umbrella to really explode,
all right. Awesome. Any final words? Definitely people need to look up the Maslow hierarchy.
Yeah, Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
I think if you all you do is plug in Maslow hierarchy of needs and it breaks out to you, and there's all kinds of information on it. But here's what I've seen. I don't care where you go in the world, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is there and it's in play. And it also, while I'm looking at other people, I'm looking at where are you, Jim White, in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it just allows you to have something as an indicator to see where you are, where you're going, and how do you meet other people at different levels, and everything's still okay, and you can communicate with them.
Yep. Like you said, like, yeah, being across, you don't have the freedom like here in America, but so you have to rely on yourself, your defense mechanism. So it's like,
Mhm.
once you get that, like, all right,
Yeah.
size up people a little bit. It's like, all right,
Yeah, and you do.
you just think, yeah,
Well, in run, the thing that your amygdala is what's always looking and saying, "Are you okay? I am okay. Should I move forward? The amygdala is always measuring your safety and whether or not you're safe. And then sometimes what we have to do is to grow our amygdala because it may see something as being unsafe or something you don't want to do just because it looks a little different, when really it wasn't unsafe, it was just different. Different is just different, not bad, not unsafe. But we always say err on the side of safety.
yeah,
If for some reason you feel something's not safe, then you stop. But then when you get to a place where you're safe, say, what was it that made me fear that space, that person, that look, that what have you, to see whether or not it was legitimate? Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Any closing? Now you gotta give a closing quote.
Ooh, quote. I had a quote that I was doing on civility. And I was I have it in the book that I'm doing now. And it runs something to the effect that civility is the essence of quality connection with other people. Because civility says, the first thing, I see you as another human being. I see you as I see myself. And that starts there. That's the first step in civility. That's the first step in civility. And then the next one is, do we say hi, bye? Do I hold the door for you? Do I just glance at you? Do I smile? Do I walk away? What happens? And then, because my thing is, I'm really embracing civility. I'll do a quick. I was going to a flower shop down on Broad Street, and when I stepped in the front door, their cooler where they keep all the flowers, there was a lady inside of that glass thing. And when I stepped in, she gave me the biggest smile. And I'm like, wow, do I know her? Does she know me? Have we seen each other? I mean, it was such a beautiful smile. And so I walked in, and once I got in, I went to the counter, and someone else was working on me, and the lady came out of the coat, and she said, "Oh, how are you doing today?" I said, "I'm really doing fine." Blah blah blah. And she went on back. But what that said to me, you know what? Whenever I'm going to buy some flowers, you know where I'm going to go first? I'm going back to Connell's right there on Broad. I mean, just that is going to make now. Something could happen that could send me in another direction. But right now, that was civility. That's where it started. So
All right.
I guess that's my closing quote.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. How do people find you?
Oh, my information, probably my email, jwhite2 at columbus.rr.com, JWHITE, the number 2 at columbus.rr.com, or my phone is 614-562-3372. Now, my only problem with my phone is that if there's not a name of a person, I don't answer because you get so many salespeople. So, but there's another, 614-252-3266, and leave a message. And then what will happen, the office will then call me and let me know that someone called. But on the other one, please, if you're calling on that one, please have your name or something on it, because I am not answering it. I must get, 50 calls a day, and everybody's trying to sell. We're talking about sales. Everybody trying to sell you something. How your windows, how your gutters, how your doors, how your this. No.
You may sell your house. What the heck?
Right. Yeah. Oh, I get that one all the time. Mr. White, the other day, I got a check in the mail. And all it says is all you have to do is sign this check. I swear. It had the dollar amount and everything on it. They said all I had to do was sign it. I looked at it. I was tempted. I said, no, I'll wait for another year and see if it'll jump a little bit for me. But that was it. So,
all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.